Hey, look who it is, back again on your head top. Yo, what's going on? Chili Bank Show, season 2, episode 2 was popping. I'm so excited. Last time we had Jacques Morel, he was so amazing. Thank you so much, Jacques, if you're listening to this.
Shout out to Jacques.
Yes, that was the coolest. Such a cool guy, man. Like, really made me want to do another one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much. Yeah, what's been going on? Last time I talked to y'all, I was actually on my way to Jamaica for my birthday. And I actually have kind of like 2 guests today, right? So one of my guests actually been on the show before. Before we get to him, though, Strifey.
Yo, what's poppin', people?
There we go. I almost forgot
What's
you, bro. I got too excited.
It's all good. No, I'm here.
My bad. But yeah, so I have another guest here. We're going to talk about my trip. I know, again, put it on Instagram and people seem to really be intrigued by it. I think it was the elegance, but we definitely going to talk about it. But before I get into that, I want to introduce again for the second time. This is my first do-over, which is dope. But DJ motherfucking Harris.
What's good?
Let's go.
DJ, what's
My
poppin', my
man.
G?
What's good, Strife?
He's back.
Yeah.
Now he's back.
My favorite podcast.
Yeah.
You already know.
DJ's in the building, y'all. Did it again.
Back.
Flew from Cali with a backpack. And that's it.
1-day trip. We here.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel
I had to
you.
pull up for this one. This one's going to be big.
Yeah, this one's going to be dope. DJ, what's poppin', man? I haven't seen you in 3 weeks.
Exactly. Last time I seen you, we was real elegant.
Yes, amazing. So we went to Jamaica. It was a big birthday for me. So I was like, man, I want to do it big. But let me tell y'all really what the plan was, right? So I never had a real structured birthday party. I've thrown parties at clubs and stuff like that, but I never threw my own parties. So I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I want to throw a paid in full themed party. And that was my goal. I was like, should I do belly or paid in full? But because of, I guess, my creativeness, right? And my, I guess you call it OCD or something, right? I noticed that when people do paid in full parties, they be looking like 80s parties. And I'm like, nah, that's not it. So I was trying to rent Willie Burger's truck. The venue was crazy. So, and it was like a 360 screen in the spot. It fit a couple hundred people. So it was going to be something huge.
Yeah.
And Paid in Full was going to play the whole thing. We had, I wanted prop money to fall from the sky.
Okay,
This is where I was going with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So boom, I'm very organized. So I put all my numbers together. All right, boom, 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 boom. I went to my man and I was like, yeah, so I priced everything else out. But the spot, literally just the spot. And I'm talking about the venue space, the, comes with security, management, cleanup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that shit was $12K.
I'm
He was
in the
"Fuck outta
business. I
here."
know. I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah,
Renting
he
out
said,
venues.
yeah, no. So plan B, which actually I feel was way better because also what you think about, you spend that much money on a party, people may not be able to make it or, last minute, or then you got people showing up you don't really want. It's just, it was too much money and it was too risky.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's get a villa, pack that shit with my people's, friends, family, and let's just ball.
This is the Jamaica trip.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
This is Montego Bay. So, I planned that shit for 3 months. No bullshit. I was emailing, phone calls, invoice this.
Group
this
chats.
shit, group chats. You know what I'm saying?
Making sure everybody on schedule.
Yeah. Listen, guys, that shit is a lot of work, okay? I've never done anything that big before, but it was a lot of work. But I will say I enjoyed it and it came out beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the villa itself, right? Drivers. I had to plan the whole menu, you know what I mean? What me and my peoples is gonna eat breakfast,
it was
lunch, and
good.
dinner.
Yo.
You know what I mean? So, and then you gotta satisfy so many people. So it was very, nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what it sounds like.
Because people spending their money too. They want to, have a good time.
Yeah, you don't want idle time over the vacation.
Yeah, you got to kind of like, I didn't want to overplan it. Like, oh, we're doing this day and this. Like, listen, we'll book like 2 activities, like what we going to do, like a night out and then an activity. And we'll,
But you don't want to waste a day either.
Yeah.
Nah, you did it perfect. It was good.
It was fire.
Yeah, it was good. You did your thing.
Good job, Sade.
You did your thing.
See, I mean, regular shit. But yeah, I'm gonna let DJ tell you guys the experience because if I do it, it's just gonna sound like I'm bragging and boasting. So he did not get paid for this, guys. But DJ,
this is not a paid advertisement.
From your eyes, right? How was it? Did you enjoy yourself, first of all?
Nah, it was good. Like you could tell that like she took a lot of planning into it. It definitely took months of planning. She had the butler, driver, chef.
All that.
The crib looked good, you know what I mean? The excursions was fire. I think the boats what took it over the top though. The boat is you know what I mean? Like we did like some snorkel vibe, right? But I don't know, like at first everybody was like to their self-reserved, everybody was like in their own corner, their own crew. But once the liquor got flowing,
of course,
and everybody got like, then it was just one big crew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I mean, that was the best right there. The
Yo, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And the food, it was like amazing. Like I think that was the best part. The minute we had those patties, boy, like we was turned after that. Pool was fire. Like, yo, it was such a good experience. I feel bad. I know like a couple people had asked me like, hey, where you staying? But it's like,
you gotta do the
not
work
right now. You know what I mean? Just give me a minute. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what's up.
Let it cool off. You coming in too quick. You know what I mean?
And not for nothing, that's like such a dope investment. Like I was talking to him about it. I'm like, yo, a guy from Texas owned it. Mm-hmm. So I'm like doing the math in my head and I'm like, he's making a lot of money right now. Yeah. So I'm like, man, I told my man, I was like, yo, let's see what's up. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of like my new thing. And plus, the fact that, I was able to put it all together, like people want an experience without all of that planning. You know what I mean? It's really, really tough. But it was fun. I miss it. We going back.
Yeah, that was fire. Yo, one of the good nights was when like we came back mad late. And we broke into the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
We broke into the kitchen.
Yeah, we broke into the kitchen.
Yeah, where the chef like makes all the food and we found like leftovers and all type of. We destroyed that. We just 2 a.m. we went crazy.
Yeah. Yo, because listen, you pay for the food.
Yeah.
So the food's yours.
Yeah, it's our food.
Yes. Like you have to, so the way this works, guys, well, this particular villa, you pay for the villa per night. Mm-hmm. And then when you get there, everybody has to have cash for tips. You want to tip the staff. You want to pay the driver, right? Mm-hmm. The driver is like $114 a day. And if you want him to do like nightlife, like you want him to hang out with you, take you around type vibes, it's like $100 flat, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you have stuff for that. And then the groceries. So what they do is we sit down, we create a menu together. They go to the store, they buy it, bring you the receipts. This is how much it is. You split that. Right? Okay. So easy breezy, lemon squeezy, but 9 people drunk, hungover. You know what I mean? Still stuffing their face from yesterday.
Broke into there and got the food.
Broke into that bitch.
Munchies.
And listen, I think maybe it was like the second to last day we was there. We still had like 4 bottles of Patron.
Oh, damn.
We had like 3 bottles of champagne left. And we was like, yo, we got to get rid of this shit.
It's time to go
and
hard.
And lo and behold, and even the butler, Adrian, we miss you, Adrian, NOD. But even he was like, you guys could drink, man. But we was chilling.
You should have seen us the next day after we broke into the kitchen and saw what was in there. Like for lunch, we like, yo, can y'all bring out some ice cream? Like we knew everything that was in the back there.
Right. She's like, yo, y'all got some red velvet cake left back there. Can you know what I mean?
We was requesting stuff after that.
That's a fact.
We was requesting.
It was so much fun, man. I can't wait to do it again. I think I'm going to just do like a yearly thing. But the next crib, I actually already been researching, y'all. So the next crib, I'm not fucking around. It's like 15 people. So that's going to be difficult only because you got to get a group. Like that is
traveling with a group is very intense.
Mad important. Like you got to invite people who are going to vibe. Like it's not just about you.
Yep.
Right. Like
you don't want to invite an oddball that you just
Right. Everybody
or people
that
clash. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You got 2 friends that are always difficult. You don't want to invite
things
them.
Like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to make a choice, B.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to make a choice. There's no harm, no foul.
Sometimes the bag makes the choice for you.
Yeah. That part too. That's
true.
how you can eliminate niggas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, what's it's $3,000, so
yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't know if you want to roll, but automatic no. Nah, but it was great. We're looking into another one. Jamaica was awesome, man. Like, I wouldn't mind going to Jamaica again, but I'm sure there's, way more beautiful places. But I just like the people, man. Like, the people were nice, and it was, I think, like my 4th time out there or something like that. I've always liked Jamaica. It's always been a vibe. Okay, guys, this is so fucking lit. Like, I have a guest. We're doing things a little different today, actually. So we're gonna make this interview kind of like a one-time deal, right? Hopefully a one-time deal. I love to see my people's face to face. So,
hello.
Hey, look who it is. We got DJ VIP.
What's cracking? That's class.
Yo, what's going on?
How you doing? Happy, what's today, Thursday?
Yes. Welcome to the Chillery Banks Show.
Happy to be here virtually.
Yes, I know. Well, listen, we'll talk all about it. I got your homie here, DJ Harris.
Yo, what's good?
What's up,
we
DJ?
Locked in for
all
you.
the way from Carlsbad, California.
Oh my God, this guy's crazy.
Word. I'm so sorry we couldn't link together, but I'm so thankful that you're here. We're all here. We got Strifey here, our engineer too. So
what's poppin', DJ VIP? What's good?
What's cracking? How you doing?
I'm coolin', man. Good to hear from you, bro.
Yes. So, guys, for you who don't know, which you're living under a rock, DJ VIP is a Bay Area native. He is a ton of things we're going to talk about. I didn't even know half the stuff. But most famously, Nipsey Hussle's official tour DJ. We're going to get into all of that. But VIP, again, thank you so much. I always start the show just kind of where you from, right? So tell us a little bit about where you come from, where you grew up, and we'll just kind of start from there.
Yeah, so I came from the Bay Area, Union City to be exact. I spent my whole life there. My family, my extended family, like that's where we all grew from.
Right.
I left in 2006 for college. Up until that, played sports and just stayed very grounded. Locally, didn't spend too much time going outside the Bay. A lot of people, when I was in college, would ask me about, Vallejo and San Francisco and San Jose and all these different like regions. And obviously I know them, but like I went straight from being in high school at 18 straight to college. So like there wasn't much time for me to go like mess around and like have fun, especially because I was fully engulfed with sports and stuff. Like I wasn't, into the, not that it's bullshit, but I wasn't into the bullshit like that. I was just locked on to the athletics and stuff, and had my fun that summer before I left, but didn't get really too tapped in with the various regions of the Bay. To this day, I say that I got a better like lay of the land when it comes to like Southern California as a whole than just my hometown, because I might be there maybe once or twice a year now.
Oh, right. I'm from Queens, so as you know, what are some things that you remember just seeing in your neighborhood growing up?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. The neighborhood that I grew up in was pretty quiet.
Okay,
you know what I mean? There weren't like street vendors. There weren't corner shops. Like, you know what I mean? It's a suburban neighborhood.
Right.
So like it was literally, it's very different, obviously, from New York, where you could just go outside and hit a corner and you got a corner store, and you know what I mean? Like it definitely isn't like that in where I'm from. So if anything, like the vibe that I remember the most is just having all my friends around and being outside,
you guys
just
like ride
being
bikes?
outside and biking, skateboarding, playing baseball. And like we played baseball in the tennis courts, with a tennis ball and like a little soft bat, so we weren't stroking it out of the court every time, having to run down the balls. But like that's a lot of my time in the Bay just is consumed with like memories with people and like doing activities outside. I wasn't like I can't tell you about certain cartoons when we were a kid because like I didn't watch TV.
Yeah,
I
we
was
was
always
outside.
outside playing.
Right. See, I grew up in Queens, right? And Queens, like when you think of New York City, Queens is kind of like the suburban part. Like you see more houses, more yards, more driveways and things like that. So same thing, like we was always outside. You know, my daughter now, it's like TikTok and Instagram. You know what I mean? Like we actually played with our friends. You know what I mean? And when you think about it, most of the time, like, you know, people our age, we have friends for 20 years, 25 years, you know, because you really was able to spend time with people. But also, you know what I thought was really interesting too? I haven't really heard anyone talking to you about your athleticism. I thought that was pretty awesome too. You have mentioned, you know, going to college for track, but I also understand that you were a power forward in 8th grade. So tell us about that. Were you on the team for school? Did you play ball every day? Were you going to the league?
I'm not gonna front. You know, I was decent, but I went to a school with 5,000 kids. Like there are people from all our school was like a satellite campus for extracurriculars. So they allowed like people from different cities, or if you had like an address for your aunt or your granny or whatever, people were, you know, trying to go to our school for all that stuff. So it was very, very stiff competition. So that's why I never played high school basketball. I tried out and I made it through every cut but the last one. And then once I did not make that cut, and I got a funny story. I had some, you know, that flavored carbonated water they have at Walmart.
Man, we don't got no Walmarts out here. I got a Target.
Right.
I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. They don't got no Walmarts in New York.
No Walmarts.
It was like before seltzers were popping, right? It was like a seltzer water kind of, but it wasn't as like healthy.
Yeah.
I had one of those the day of the tryouts, and I swear I had the gnarliest cramp, and I blame it on that drink because I know I was performing horrible because my cramp was just fucking me up. But nonetheless, basketball was never like my sport that I consider myself like super outstanding in. I wouldn't even say track was. I just was able to excel at a quicker pace than others.
Yeah.
But I joined track to condition for baseball. Once I knew I wasn't going to be playing basketball in the fall, I'm like, all right, my other sport is baseball. Let me start getting ready for that in the spring. That's when the coach had told me, like, look, if you give me, you know, a good 4 years, you commit yourself, like, these are how many people I usually get pushed out on scholarships. And versus the baseball team, I'd only see a handful of them. And by handful, I'm talking 1 or 2 out of like 15 players or something, you know, 20 players. So my odds of getting one were just way better. And as a kid, I had to this day, like my knees are fucked up. Like, you know, every now and then you might catch me walking pigeon-toed because I just had a lot of knee issues as a kid, and doing sports such as basketball and baseball that have a lot of lateral movement was putting a lot of stress on my knees. So once I started to train for track and really emphasize on good running technique and how you're supposed to put your legs up and put your foot down, I actually kind of corrected some of that and alleviated a lot of my knee pain. So I chose to like really stick with track because by the end of my freshman year, I was seeing like my walking and my running and my knee pain get better, as well as already being varsity on my, you know, my freshman year. I was already lettered and all that stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably just stay here and put these 4 years in. And luckily I got a scholarship to Northridge. It could have easily been like Fresno State or Ohio State, you know, schools that have a little bit more like, you know, ring to their name. But for me, that they weren't in LA, and I knew I wanted to dive into entertainment. So that's what brought me to LA specifically versus the other schools where I had offers to go to.
Right. Because, you know, you being from the Bay, you pretty much left the Bay when it was college time. So now it's like the LA move, right? And you were talking about your scholarship. So the scholarship was for track. So tell me about that too, because did you just like try out? Like, you know, aside from getting that, you know, full ride in comparison to baseball, like what made you say, like, I want to do track? And like, was that a sport that you grew up watching? Did your mom or dad watch it? Like what made you want to run is my question.
Like I said, it was just conditioning. It was something that I kind of fell into when I didn't make basketball and I was conditioning for baseball. So at that point I was just locked in, like, you know, I'm doing good here. I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
I didn't really like aspire to do track or pole vaulting. Pole vaulting was just an occurrence out of out of a necessity to find something that I could strengthen my speed and my upper body for ideally for baseball. But I just, like I said, excelled in it pretty quick. And then I'm like, oh, I should probably stick with this.
Yeah. So did you stayed on campus, or did you have like an apartment in LA at the time?
Yeah. So I went to Cal State Northridge, which is in LA County. It's not in the city of LA, but it's in the Valley. Okay. And I lived on campus in the dorms my first year with a couple other athletes, and then somebody else who was like on a scholarship for something else. Just because they're like, look, if y'all getting money, we're gonna make sure that all y'all are on point.
Facts.
Facts. So that we're all accountable and stuff. So we stayed in the dorms our freshman year. My second year, I lived across from the school, but not technically on campus. Like it was the street across from the campus. So it might as well have been. And then the following years, I just had roommates from, other athletes and people that to this day, I like one of my buddies that I lived with was who was in my wedding was a roommate for 2 years in college.
Oh, nice.
So,
That's what's up.
I had my good little, smorgasbord of like living experiences in college, from living with people to my last couple of years living on my own.
Yeah, like I remember the first time I moved out and my parents was like, you'll see, you know what I mean? So like, do you remember, and I think my first realization was like groceries, because I was so used to my parents like filling stuff up.
I was
lost in the sauce.
Beyond belief. Because my mom did daycare my whole life, right?
Oh, so she was home.
She was home. She was, when the kids were napping, she was cleaning, doing laundry, cooking food. When I got home, I literally had a plate. You know what I mean? Like, I never had to figure out how to eat or how to wash clothes. So, like, that was, for most people be like, what? Like, my mom been running out to work since I was 6 years old or 5 years, like some crazy. You know what I mean? Like, I've been cooking since I was 8. Like, no, my mom ain't letting me touch the stove. Sorry. Like, I don't have a good track record with fire. So that was the hardest thing for me, was just making that transition to like living on your own and being independent, just taking care of like semi-adulting, because I didn't really have a job and like real bills to pay. But at the same time, like my scholarship was my job, and maintaining that, paid my bills.
Yes.
So I just had to, do what I had to do and figure things out. Made a few calls, checked a few YouTube videos,
Yeah. And something, I have a daughter in college. So I just, I look at her and I think back when I was that age, or, my friends, like all of us at that age. And I'm like, man, we didn't know what the hell we were doing, but you just figure it out.
Yeah. You start off with ramen noodles all day at college, so you realize how to work the stove.
I learned the hard way about, dieting and stuff, because I would literally have all my classes stacked up in the morning so that I could have practice in the afternoon. Or actually, I'm lying. My major, a lot of people for TV and film, they had like jobs and stuff, so they were taking classes and doing stuff afterwards. So a lot of my classes were in afternoons. So I had morning classes, and there were times where like I could get away with just waking up and going straight to training or having like a subpar breakfast. But when I had those afternoon days, I was already depleted. And one day before I went in, I had like some ramen and like a pizza and some fries with a
you learned the hard way.
Ketchup. And I remember burping like some and I tasted like that like acidic like
the acidic
ketchup,
buildup,
and then a stomach acid too. And mid workout, I started blowing chunks. And then after that, like I was like, I reevaluated what I was eating, when I was eating, things of that nature.
Okay, but, so you learned discipline.
I had to, because it kicked my ass when I was trying to cheat the system and cheat myself.
Yeah, for sure. So in college, but especially the time when you were at the dorms, like what was college for you like? Were you like a cliquey guy? Did you just hang out with the athletes? Like, did you do parties? Like, what was going on for you at that age?
I think just like naturally, I hung out around a lot of athletes because I did spend a lot of time with them. Because the way I looked at college, you either had your regulars, right, just people who are going to school, your athletes. So your regulars, pretty much your non-athletes, your athletes, and then you got your people that are like in, you know, various clubs, whether it be academic or social, like extracurricular stuff.
Yeah.
And then you usually see these different types of people together at similar type of events or whatever. But I was mainly with athletes. It wasn't until like my junior and senior year that I was getting back into DJing, because when I did leave, my parents made me leave my equipment at home. They're like, you're going to maintain your scholarship. You're not going to be DJing and partying and doing all this stuff. So when I started interning at Power, they ended up telling me that I could, you know, bring my stuff out. So I ended up like, all right, whatever. I'm taking my equipment back to LA. So it was my junior year that I started working at Power, or interning at Power. And that's when I kind of got into the partying. And I say that loosely because I mean, I was DJing like athletic parties or like small little bars in the valley and like club nights, like college nights and stuff. So it wasn't like Project X partying, but I had to maintain my scholarship the first couple years and figure out the flow of college and life of being on my own. And then once I felt like I had a good grasp on that, that's when I started to get back into DJing, partying, and just being altogether more social.
Yeah. How was you guys' college parties? Strife and DJ probably tell you. Everybody in Queens talks about the St. John parties. Did you guys parties? Did it get wild? Was it mostly hip hop? Like, you know, what were y'all jamming to?
Yeah, it was definitely hip hop. I mean, we were coming out of like that like hypey movement that was like, you know, 06, 07. So like that, I was very much pushing that line in Southern California. Even at the time, there was a little bit of resistance because California between North and South is like two different worlds, you know?
Right.
So people weren't really super gravitating towards it. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go a different lane. And that's when, you know, I started tapping into all the LA music and stuff. But back to the parties. The parties were cool. Like one time we had YG perform Tooted and Booted when it was like an easy year or two before it got popping, when it was the original recording before he got signed. We had him perform on our rooftop. You know, we would get jumpers in the backyard, and I had a street bike. We didn't have any lights, so I had my headlights from my street bike like lighting up the jumper, so there was light in the backyard and stuff.
That's nice.
That's dope.
We were going crazy. I would have some of the top DJs from the time in Hollywood DJing our parties that I was usually hosting with my roommates. And
what year was this?
This was in 2009, 2010.
What a time. What a time. So you went to school for radio and television, right? So did you always know you wanted to DJ? Were you looking to be on the radio? I know Power 106 is huge in your area. We'll get to them too. But when you picked your major, you was like, what am I going to do? What did you see yourself doing as your career?
Well, like I said, I definitely had already known that I was going to SoCal for entertainment.
Right.
You know, and I pretty much knew I was going to do something either in TV or radio because of the program I was going to. I was going to be in Southern California. And I actually got started with my DJing on account of somebody who was in radio. When I was like 12 years old, I called a station in the Bay Area. The call letters is KYLD. They go by Walt 94.9, still the same station. I think, you know, new program directors and such, but she was one of the hosts on the morning drive time. It was like afternoon drive time or something. And I called her just like a little kid, like, hey, do y'all got like an equipment room with some outdated equipment y'all can give me to DJ? And she was like, no, we don't have nothing here, but I might be able to find something. And then I just kept in contact with her. And then one day she was like, I found something for you, like, and then came out, and it was cool because she would always put me on the radio, and I was like a little kid. I loved that shit, you know, like, oh, I'm on the radio right now, like,
right.
And it was just like, it was dope because I'm like, damn, like, she has a platform, people know who she is, like, she gets to do what she loves, she's around music, and I'm like, this seems cool. So that's what the DJing is what initially was my interest, but then she like sparked the interest with the radio with that. And to this day, like, her name's Fresca. She works up in the Bay Area still for radio. And, you know, I check in with her very frequently. She's like my big sister. She's like my mentor, gave me a lot of game in the industry.
Shout out to her, man.
Yeah,
You
that's super
always
dope.
need somebody. Like, you know what I mean? It literally is just that one person who just helps you out. You know what I mean? Just catapults everything. So a little bit of a dark time, but you got into a bad car accident, right? And at this time you were interning for Power 106. And we were discussing about you making that choice. So tell us a little bit about the Power 106 and after this car crash and you having to make that decision.
Yeah, I mean, I had like a little, I loved it too. It was a 91 Mustang 5.0. I had a fiberglass, like pin top racing hood with like a 3-inch lift on it on the cowl hood. And, I bought it with police registration. It was crazy because it used to be a police interceptor. So it used to be a chase car for the CHP. I had that thing built out. It was crazy. And one day it seems like every time something happens, it's like when you're doing something you don't really need to be doing. And you're like, damn, I didn't need to be doing that. So that day I was doing a favor for somebody. I was going out of my way to pick them up at the airport. They told me they were landing at 5. I assumed it was like 5 in the morning, right? It wasn't until 5 at night. So after they're not answering their phone, I drive back from LAX. I'm exiting the exit to get off. It's Nordoff, the exit to get to CSUN from the freeway off the 405. And as I'm exiting, a car just rear ends me. Like they weren't paying attention to the fact that I was slowing down on getting off the exit. And they totally just rear ended it. Dimpled out my roof from, crunching it like in a weird way. Like it put dots on the roof because it just did some weird stuff. But the car ended up totaling out. I was in the hospital. I woke up in the hospital and they had the news on. And when I seen it, it was literally my accident was holding up traffic because the freeway was shut down.
Wow. So you saw it in the hospital. Like that's when you realized what had happened.
Yeah. I mean, I was aware that I was in an accident, but I didn't know that like it was that bad, you know? And then when I seen the car, it just made sense. Apparently I got hit twice. So there's a car that hit me. We ended up like spinning out, and after we almost came to a stop, another car hit me. But I don't remember any of it. I barely remember the first impact. So because of that, I did not have transportation. I had to go to rehab, really focus on maintaining my scholarship for school.
What were your injuries due to the accident? Did you break any bones? Like what happened exactly?
No, it was just a ton of like, muscle and like muscle trauma, really, just from like the quick movement. Everything was just really sore and mobility was gone. And like, it just took a lot of time to like loosen everything up and get back to like just being naturally where I was at from it. Nothing broke. Nothing was,
thank God. Okay.
It was like, yeah, it was cool. But like I said, had to focus on getting right back for that. So stepped away from the power situation, but it was really a blessing because at that time I realized like if I want to do radio, I'm gonna have to literally keep both feet planted in the city at all times. Like I can't leave. And that's when I realized like, oh, there's still another option to doing this music stuff. I could mess with the artist because obviously there's tons of avenues you could go through. But at the time I was fresh to everything. So I'm trying to figure out like, damn, if I can't do radio, like I don't rap, what am I going to do? Like, I could DJ for an artist. So then, just started supporting artists and putting out music, like co-signing music, putting out projects. And over time got to the point where I could stand next to Nick. And then the rest was history once we locked in,
Yeah. And you met him during your internship at 106, and you were just kind of a fan, introduced yourself. And what was the energy like? People always talk about, you first meet somebody, you kind of read them a little bit, right? Like a first impression. What was your very, very, very first impression when you saw him and introduced yourself?
My first impression of him was like, who is this? Like, he looked like like his name, and at the time he looked like he was like a 90s pimp. I was like, what's the Nipsey Hussle? You know what I mean? Because I wasn't really hip to his music at first. And then later down the line, I ended up, when I met him, it was, just a generic, he probably just thought I was whoever at the station gonna, never see again. It wasn't a disrespectful interaction by any means. It was just a regular, what's up, bro? Like, quick conversation. It wasn't until like I really started reaching out to him that he seemed like, oh, this kid like fucks with me.
Right.
And once we got to the point where he could bring on a DJ full time, then you could just see that him open up, just see him beyond the rapper, see him as a person, and like just have a regular conversation with him about anything. So a lot of it's hard to remember that some of these people that like we really revere for what they can do, as an artist or in any profession, that at the end of the day they're a human. They,
of course,
they do regular shit like us. You know what I mean? Like,
they
do the same shit as us. They might have a little bit different lifestyle, but like same thing. And that's something that he really put into my mind is like, damn, this dude is like one of the most down to earth people that I know. Like he's never been on no dickhead shit with me. Like, and I've seen people who've had far less treat people way worse.
Right.
Or far less success, I should say, treat people way worse and just move around with their nose in the clouds. And he never gave me that type of energy. It was always motivating. It was always inspiring. He always wanted to see each one of us build our own brand, because that collectively built the brand we were building as a team, and he understood, like, there's times where it's like, it might not be convenient, but at the end of the day, like, it's a part of the process, whether it's like me going out to do something or I got to put something aside. Like, he just understood the whole thing. He was never selfish about it.
That's what's up. But how did that interaction like began? Like, cause I know you said like you became his DJ, but how did that occur? Like,
So one day I was helping Nip and Adam with some music for like a family member that passed away.
Okay.
Because they either have like the repast and like we need 2 hours of music like based off this. So they gave me like 5 or 10 songs and I just built a vibe out. And like a week after the repast, they replied to that email and they were like, "Hey, VIP, are you able to get on a call about this Crenshaw show?" And I'm like, okay, yeah, like I got tickets for the show. Like, what's good? So he calls me and he asked me if I'm like, he's like, "Yeah, man, we got this show coming up," and he's like kind of beating around the bush. I'm like waiting. I'm just like, ask the question,
like, ask me. Ask me.
And then, he asked me, he's like, "Are you available to DJ, the show on Thursday at the House of Blues?" And I'm like, trying to play it cool, but like I'm fucking in the house jumping around, like I'm losing my shit, right? And but then I'm dumb me, like trying to like overthink it. I'm like, "So do you need me to DJ for like the pre-show, or do you need me to DJ for the show?" I'm like, not that it matters, but like just so I know where I'm at. And I was like, "It don't matter, bro. Like whatever you need, I'll do it." And then he's like, "How much you need?" And then I gave him a number. He's like, "Oh, that's a little much." I'm like, "Yeah, bro. I mean, it's all good. Like, I'll work around it." We negotiated, but it was funny because at first I hit him with a high number. And I think like kind of respected. It wasn't like disrespectful high, but it was like, damn, this fool isn't like,
like I'm good.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
He's about his business.
Yeah. But everything worked out, and we continued to grow it, and that's how it started. He asked me if I could come out to the House of Blues show. And then at the House of Blues show, when I'm sitting in the room, because I'm not really hip to the shit, and I know that he wears red, so I go to the shit wearing a red Crenshaw shirt.
Right.
And this is early Nip, so I'm in the room full of 100 Crips wearing blue. And you know what I mean? I was like, God damn, hell uncomfortable, but I got over it quick because Nip was there with the booking agent, and he had the full tour schedule, and he literally just said, "Make yourself available for this."
Right.
Wow.
That is
and
amazing.
I was like, all right, bet. I'm there, like whatever it takes. And at the time, I was literally just finishing school. I was in my last semester of like doing, or no, actually not that year. I'm tripping, totally lying. It was I did a show with him the year before that. But once we locked in, it was regular. He didn't do any shows without me. He might have had hostings or things of that nature, like walkthroughs. But if I wasn't available and somebody inquired on a date where I wasn't available, he wouldn't take the show just because we had that type of chemistry and show flow that he wasn't willing to sacrifice his production just to get a date off.
Solid.
And that was your first tour, right? With like a major artist. So was that the largest crowd?
Yeah, I mean, DJ could tell you, DJ was on the tour.
I know.
DJ knows he was DJ. Do you remember when he was yelling at the sound man about "Don't mess up my sound"?
That was actually our first day on the road. It was in Ohio, and he was banging on the sound man because he took that shit serious because he was like, my fans need to have a good experience, and he took that shit dead serious. You know what I mean? So that's fine.
And then he told Rollo take a picture of the board, and he was tripping. But like it goes, and what did it tell? And you've told me many times, like what did it tell you about Cuz and what he expected?
He basically, you could tell that he really like he cared about the experience that his fans was gonna get. And like he literally went up, like we're really downplaying it. Like he went up, like he was about to swing on these dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he was like, take a picture of the boards, and the boards better look the same way when when the show was live. If you move or touch anything, like it's a problem.
Yeah, remember he said tonight you work for us.
Yeah, he said you work for us tonight because they didn't really. They wasn't really putting enough respect on his name. Like in their eyes, it was just like another show, a hip hop show, whatever. Like they didn't really care. But once he banged on them, they sharpened up very quickly and they was on point that night.
Of course.
Word, and it was like, don't touch my shit.
That's a fact.
Period.
Dropped a bomb on
Yeah,
them.
you got to. Because a lot of people don't take this seriously. You get a hot song and you feeling yourself. And who cares if you fuck up? The crowd's going to sing it for you. Like, no way, you know? And the fact that he was early on in his career like that and he took it that fucking serious. Like, this is me, this is my team, this is my shit. That says, you know, it speaks volumes, obviously, right? So you're on this tour. Was there ever a time where you messed up and you had to kind of make sure that other people didn't, I guess, recognize, right? Was there any ever big bloops that happened during the tour?
100%. I mean, it was my first tour, right? It was his first independent tour. The last tour he went out was with Game, which Game provided all the resources at the time. And like his catalog and his show in general wasn't as nearly as intricate as it was at that time. So he was able to get it off and get through it before, but this was different. We had to do everything from the ground up. Aside from DJing, I was there like before and after the shows, helping him build the stage props with the vinyl backgrounds that had pictures of Crenshaw and Slauson.
Wow.
Every show. You know, that wasn't something that, not that it was a big deal, but like I didn't care. I was just happy to be there. I'll do whatever you need me to do because I'm a team player. And I really believed in Nip and what he was trying to do. So, you know, we always, every show ran into some kind of complication because we're going to some of these markets where they're handing me an aux cable and they don't got no equipment. You know, they're like rock venues and shit.
I can only imagine you went through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. DJ, do you remember that venue that we went through in, I think it was Miami, where they had the bar in the middle and it looked like a grunge venue or something?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bar was in the middle?
I think it was it Fort Lauderdale?
It was,
I know it was Miami for sure.
It was Florida.
It was Florida for sure.
It could have been Jacksonville. I don't know where
it was. Orlando. It was Orlando, I think.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Like I literally have memories of just all these different places. And what's great is, you know, the iPhone has the location tagging. So it's like whenever I need to know what day I was somewhere or whatever, I'm going to go look at that location and boom, I got the exact memory. But the tour, like I said, had issues left and right. I had my laptop break in Miami. Me and Fats, rest in peace, were wrestling on the bus. And Fats is, you know, Fats is like a wrecking ball. Like Cuz is known for running through people, whether it's pushing through them or punching through them. Like Fats is known for knocking people down. You know, he's just a strong, big dude. And we were wrestling, and he wasn't aware that my laptop was sitting on the bench in the front of the bus. And the way it was sitting, there was like something on, like maybe like a flash drive or something like sitting on the keyboard. So when the laptop shut, because it was like halfway open, it cracked out the screen. Keep in mind, this is in the middle of tour, right before a show. So I believe it happened in Orlando, matter of fact. And then we went to Miami the next day. And by the grace of God, I was able to get a Genius Bar appointment that same day. And they got the whole screen fixed before the show that night.
Wow.
That means it's meant to be. That means
crazy.
It's meant to be.
So wait, so the show was in how many hours? Like how long did this, like, what was your window?
I mean, I probably got to the Apple store first thing in the morning because the driver was making the trips like super late at night or, you know, early. And it wasn't like we had to go that far between Orlando and Miami. So I maybe got there like at 10 or 11. and they had me the computer, no joke, by like 3 or 4. Like, I don't think I sound checked with it. I definitely didn't sound check with it, but I got the computer back and working, and it was golden. Within 6 hours, max.
Damn, I would have been shitting my pants. Like,
that's what people don't
and
understand.
Keep in mind, I already know that Apple's usually like, oh yeah, if we got to do like a screen or something for a laptop, they're like, we got to depot it. Usually they have to send it out 3 to 5 days. They're talking about we can only have it come back to the facility that it was returned at. I'm like, but in 3 days, I'm gonna be in Texas. Like, I'm not gonna be in Florida or wherever I was. Like it just wasn't gonna pan out. So they said they had some program for business accounts, and it was a little fee, but basically it gave us instant Genius Bar access and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, we need that right now.
Oh my gosh! Were you guys able to make all shows? Like, did anything stop you? Like, tour bus broke or anything like that? You guys made all shows on time?
Yeah, we made all the shows we were scheduled to make. Some canceled like a week or 2 out. But we didn't have any like weather implications. We definitely were traveling in the middle of the winter, which wasn't easy. When Nick talks about fixing flats in the cold, that shit's real. We were making our run to Denver and it was freezing outside and it was damn near snowing, and our trailer had caught a flat.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
And what did you guys do like in between shows? Like, did everybody usually travel together? Did you guys, stop at places, go hang out, movies, bowling, drinks, anything like that? Or you guys were just focused on this tour?
On the Crenshaw tour, I mean, we pretty much just all stayed together on the bus. People might have like ventured off, as far as you could get with the Uber or whatever. It's like, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of stuff going on. So it's like, you can't go that far. Once we weren't on the bus, like on later tours, we were definitely like going and sightseeing and pulling up on stuff. And like when we went to, I believe it was Detroit, and we stopped at like the Motown building that's right there. So like every time we went into different cities, we always try to touch like something that was like relevant to the city. Especially as we had more time. Like there were definitely times where we had gone and caught a movie, between the sound check and the show.
Yeah, because you got to keep that too, right? You got to like take a break.
Yeah, but it just, sometimes like with the bus and a ton of people, it's not as feasible to move a big group like that versus when we're traveling with 4, 5, 6 people. It's a little bit easier to go to the movies and stuff,
Right.
So it kind of just depends on who we were with, what the travel group was and stuff.
Right. So if you could look back, I mean, it sounds like everything went as well as it could be, but just now you have an experience being on tour. What did you learn from tour life? Like major keys, like maybe some things that you guys could have did differently back then, in those years. Like what did you learn about just being on tour? Like what are the most important things people need to know when they want to take their show on the road? Over prepare for failure, but between equipment and if other people to fail you. There's going to be a lot of people who don't have the same energy and the same priority as you. Right.
Just like that one venue where DJ stepped on for the first time, they got revolving doors of acts coming through there. You're no different than the guy from last night or the guy that's coming tomorrow.
Yeah, so, that's true.
I would say to just understand that, because when you go in there, then and you're automatic like, yeah, they're not trying to help me, they don't fuck with me, and you just start feeling some type of way. No, they do this shit all the time. Just be patient with them. They're professionals. And then if they really get out of line, then respectfully let them know where you stand, but I think that too many people are like, they take a lot of the shit personal, and they got to understand that like they're just there doing their job.
Yeah,
sometimes you're not doing the job great, but you can't expect, if loading's at 4:00, hey man, I'm here to sound check. Like, no, bro, load in. They have to load everything in, get everything set up, and then they're going to do this. So you just have to be familiar with like the flow of things, and once you get familiar with that, the rest is pretty much a breeze, because then it's just like clocking into anything else. And like I said, over preparing with backup equipment, because there's going to be times you go out on the road and you're going to go to these small markets that don't have a Guitar Center, a Sam Ash. They don't have anywhere where SIR where they can rent equipment.
Yep. Microphones,
so in some cases,
break, all
you
types
need to make
of
sure
stuff.
everything, so it's ideal to go out with if you can and you're on a bus, go out with your own rig from your own DJ equipment, even if it's just a backup controller, just something as an alternative in case they don't have something that meets your ideal standard. You have the backup that will suffice.
So the Crenshaw tour, what did you like, in your opinion? What was the one song that everyone went crazy? Every city, just, you knew once you dropped it, it was up. What do you think it was at that time?
I mean, there was a couple. It's hard. You can't just say one. I would, without a doubt, like from the Crenshaw project, it'd have to be like You See Us was crazy. You know, it's epic Boston footage. Like when we did Fly Crippin'.
Yeah,
that
DJ
was
told us about that.
insane. You know, and then in every market, Hustle in the House went crazy too, because it was like that trademark song. You know, everyone got a song that's about them or who they are, you know, all these legacy artists, and that was his, and everybody went crazy to that, especially because it was our closeout song most of the time. There was times where he would come back and maybe test a record on some like fake walk-off shit, and then I would drop a song. And it would be something that wasn't like a conventional performance song, but something he still wanted to do if the energy was up. But, you know, I would definitely have to go with like some Fly Crippin', You See Us, Check Me Out, Hustle in the House. DJ, what else would you add to that?
Check Me Out. That one went crazy.
I like Check Me Out.
That's his favorite.
No, that one went crazy.
Yo, which city was the best city out of the tour to you?
Well, Boston had some of the craziest energy for the size of the venue.
Yeah.
Like there must have been like 60 blue rags in there going crazy, but it was all love. Like it was nothing. Like it was just going crazy. TNC flags and like it was going up. Bigger venues would probably be like Houston when we touched Warehouse Live. We had Bun B come out, Kirko.
Nice.
And that was like our first time cracking over 1,000 people.
Okay.
I think we did like 14 or 1,500 at that venue.
Nice.
So that would definitely be it, just because like that was the first time we went to a market where we weren't really familiar with, and we had our biggest
impact
attendance. Yeah.
So what did you, because again, this was your first, right? So did you do anything to prepare? Like, did you research? Did you reach out to maybe some DJs you knew from Power 106? Like, what did you do to prepare to go on tour with like such a big artist, so many cities? Like, what was the advice that you were given?
To be honest, I didn't ask for any advice. I didn't have too many people that I knew that I could speak to in regards to touring. I didn't have anybody that had been on any significant tours that I had known. I was around the Power 106 DJs, but they don't tour. You know, they stay in the city and they do the radio thing. So for me, you know, I just had to take my best guess. Like, okay, I better make sure I take enough clothes, and like I got extra. Like my big thing is don't get caught off deck. So if something happens, like make sure you got backup. You know, make sure you're on point. So I actually went out with like multiple chargers, just little things that aren't big deals, but like if I lost it, it would have fucked everything up. So I took doubles of. Yeah, I kept something in my backpack, you know, and I kept my doubles in the suitcase underneath the bus, and that was pretty much, I think, my saving grace, because there were times where something did fail, or you know, just in the heat of trying to get out of the venue quick, I left it, and it would have fucked me on the next one. But I had backup and then time to re-up on my backup.
Right. And what was tour like, or not even tour, like what was your life like after the tour? So after this big high, you do all these shows, like what was next for you? And I'm kind of leading up to Victory Lap. So between that time, what were you working on? What were you doing? What was the team working on? Just tell us a little bit about after the tour.
Yeah, so after the Crenshaw tour, we were getting a lot of press and getting a lot of accolades because of how well the project had been received. And, you know, then we had all the content from the tour, which I think we did a great job capturing photos and timeless video, you know, that to this day are still, you know, like gems in so many reasons. But we were just focused on the album. Like I had just seen an interview from 2015 when I was in Europe at Paris, the Paris pop-up we had. And I was talking about, they're asking me how's Nip inspire you, and like working with him, things of that nature. And I remember saying like, yeah, we're going back home and we're working on the album. And like, literally that's all we were doing for 2013, 14 on was working on Victory Lap, because some of those songs that are on Victory Lap were recorded for Crenshaw. Some of those songs that are on Victory Lap were recorded during Mailbox Money and Boston Boy too. But he was holding on to records. So there was times where it'd be like a year, 2, 3 years, and we're like, bro, where's Victory Lap at? You said in 2013 in December that Victory Lap was coming, or 2012 that Victory Lap was your next project, right? And then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So it was like, I believe in you, bro, but like we got to do something. Like we
like what's going on?
And there's waves where like, you know, he just wasn't recording. Unless we had a show, like he'd just be pretty low key for a month or two, you know. And it's just because he was in his creative process, doing his shit and getting all this stuff figured out, so that once the music was here, he could have the businesses and everything else in place to roll out. So you know, it looks like it did.
Right. And, you know, talking about creative spaces, I always hear like artists, you know, they have their writer and, you know, for tours, obviously, but also you have like a studio vibe. Like what were the must-haves that Nipsey needed during this time making Victory Lap?
Bro did not have he would order food that he didn't finish. He was notorious for, you know, his eyes wanting to eat more than his stomach wanted to. But all he wanted was his little fucking fresh backwoods and some marathon, you know, and some pH water. And, you know, he was definitely on a little health kick for a minute, but he wasn't like big on like, oh, I need this snack and this exotic bag of chips and like this and that. And the room needed to smell like fucking lavender mixed with citrus. Like that that was his type of shit. He was very easygoing. He's from the trenches, you know, like, so just everything around him was a blessing as it was. Like, yeah, he liked to have nice things every now and then, but like bro knew how to thug it. You know, there were times where we would all be in a fucking suite and, you know, there was one bed and bro wouldn't be pressed on having the bed. He would take the couch.
Yeah.
So, you know, he was a team player and he'd been through some shit. So I think that's why, you know, he just took everything to the chin, good or bad.
Right. And when you were listening to these songs from Victory Lap, like, did you know that, wow, like you guys are putting together a classic? Or was this just like, you know, just regular Nip? Like he's always makes great music, but did you realize like how big this album was going to be throughout these couple of years that you guys are putting it together?
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was going to be big. I could definitely tell that it was going to be a classic. I don't think that I knew it was going to be as timeless as it was.
Right.
Like,
that's a fact.
Right.
I don't think any of us really knew. Like, we knew that he had great music. We knew that he was different, but I don't think any of us really knew until it hit, till we seen everybody's response. Like, yo, we're like,
that's
we did it. Like, we're here.
Yeah.
We straight. Like, I literally remember when we flew back maybe 2-3 weeks before everything happened, where he passed away. We were on the PJ and it was like, damn, like, we're on the Puma jet right now. Like fucking Jay sits in this seat sometimes. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, yo, we're good. Like, it's done. Like as much as I knew we'd have to continue working, like I felt like a lot of the crazy grunt work was done. Like, all right, we're here.
Yeah.
Like we arrived at that point, you know?
I actually didn't really know who Nipsey was like way back, right? Like I've always heard of him, like DJ obviously, right? But I really tapped in like officially Victory Lap and then I had to go back, right? But I knew that this album was crazy when I heard Real Big. When I heard that shit.
My favorite part of the album.
When I fucking heard that shit, I was like, wait a second, like where have I been? I think I stopped and I was like, all right, let me listen to the old shit because that shit just blew my mind. What song did you hear where you were like, nah, this is crazy? Do you remember like a song off the album that you were just like, nah, it's up from here?
Not because of any commercial reasons, but Right Hand of God was like,
fire.
Like one of those ones where I was like, oh yeah, he's speaking on some like prophetic shit. Like he's prolific. He's fucking, he's all that, bro. Like he's tapped in now. Like that's where it like opened me up, and not because of anything religious, like just literally the verse and the shit. Every time I heard the song, it gave me chills.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what Real Big did for me.
What about Blue Laces 2?
Oh, that's another one. Yes.
Blue Laces 2.
Storyteller.
Blue Laces 2 is dope.
Yeah.
Great record. Dope flip. You know, definitely appreciate, especially the original Cocaine. That shit is like some West Coast classic shit.
Did Nipsey have a favorite song on that album?
I asked him before, but he never really gave me a straight answer.
Okay, he loved
I think you know, just because I think every song was special to him in its own way. You know, I don't think he really.
Yeah, and you know,
I personally, one of my favorites is nobody's DJs might have heard it. Dedication, the original Dedication with no Kendrick and 3 Nipsey verses.
Wow,
crazy.
Do you think we'll ever hear that?
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, I was about to say, do you think we'll ever hear those verses?
It probably won't come out. I don't see it. I think they actually pulled the third verse for a record that somebody pulled out. This song put out recently. Like, I think, you know what? That song Memories with Maroon 5.
That was it.
That verse is, because that original verse is a 16. I think they chopped up the 16 and turned it into an 8, and it's that Maroon 5 Memories remix.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
But the original 16 on Dedication is stupid. Another one that like gives me instant chills when I hear it.
Yeah, that's an exclusive right there.
Third verse specifically.
Wow. And do you remember, you know, being in the studio around that time? Studio rules. Were there any rules? Were there anything that, you know, people knew, like when you come here, none of this or more of this? Was there anything that you guys had like rules as far as recording?
It wasn't really rules because Nip had his own, for a while, he had his own studio where we were at. And like, I remember he posted this picture. It's still on his page if you go ways down, but it's me, Jorge Peniche, and Archer One. And there's like 3 computers lined up. And he said, well-oiled machine, because we were all doing different stuff. Like JP was working on some photos for a release. I was getting together the audio assets to blast out to tastemakers. Archer was doing something with graphics for that as well. So we were like collectively just always working. I think that we understood, like we weren't just a bunch of slackers that were around Nip.
Right.
You know, we were all like self-starters. So it wasn't an issue of like what you can or should be doing. It was more so like, I think everyone had a general understanding of what Nip expected of himself and as well as what he expected from us. And because he had such a presence, nobody really wanted to be caught being that person not on point.
Right. So after Victory Lap dropped and you guys, you know, see the response, do you remember like your first conversation with him when you guys realized like this is crazy? Like, what was that conversation like? Was he excited or was he like, listen, we got to keep working? Like, what was the energy after this dropped and you guys knew, boom, it's a success?
I mean, we knew pretty quick that it was, like I said, that it was golden. You know, that we were good. It was just a matter of making sure that we figured out the next play because we had spent so much time doing that.
Right.
That we wanted to make sure that like we didn't lose the momentum after, you know, while things were going or starting to like slow down. We had something to follow up with.
Right. So fast forward, of course, you know, when you and I talked our pre-interview, we obviously discussed Nipsey's passing, and I compared it to the feeling I got when Biggie passed, right? Because I'm from New York City. And when that day happened, I mean, it was like everybody was just somber, you know? Even if you didn't really listen to his music, it's like you knew by standing in a crowd of people that this person was important. And I'm sure it's the same anywhere for everybody. But describe to us, you know, unfortunately, when you did get the call, right? Do you remember where you were? What was going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, I was in Charlotte. I was doing a studio session out there, and it was crazy. It was just like, I first of all, my phone had been off, right? So my phone was like dead or something. My phone is notorious for dying, so I'm just on it too much.
Right.
And it died off for no more than like 30 minutes or an hour, but that's around the time when it happened. So everybody hits me up because they see headlines that Nipsey's been shot, you know?
Right.
So people are hitting me like, are you with, because I was with him so much at that time, like, you know, all the time that not every day, but like it was at the point where like you had to check because you're like, damn, was Vic with them or like what's the deal? So everyone was blowing me up. My phone was off. So when I turn my phone on, is pretty much when like I get the texts and I see everything online, and like naturally it was like surreal. Like it was like, what the fuck? And I instantly knew that he was, because at the time they hadn't pronounced him dead yet.
Right.
I knew that he wasn't alive just off seeing the pictures of like him on the ground. Because I'm like, nah, bro, don't lay down. Like, bro's a fighter. Like, if he got hit, he's gonna get up. He's gonna drive himself to the hospital.
Right.
You know. So that's when I knew shit was bad. So that's when I had to, start planning my return to LA. So I got back the next day, and then got with the family and the team and everything, and began the grieving process at that point. But it was just all so surreal, and it just happened so quick, and it was literally out of left field. The only reason I was in Charlotte was because we had the weekend off. I got away to do some work, and it just, he wasn't supposed to be out. He didn't have security with him. Sam was at Granny's house. Everybody was doing their own thing. It was supposed to be a family day, day off. It was a Sunday. Enjoy your day.
Right.
And then that happened.
So he normally had security when he moved around for the most part.
Yeah. Whether it was like, fucking legit, someone with a guard card or just somebody else who was there to protect him. He was never
by himself.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Nip went and did whatever he wanted when he wanted. Like, he never waited for nobody. And like, he definitely ran off. And that was one of our things. Like, bro, like, you can't just be taken off. Like, we got to make sure someone's with you.
Right.
But Nip was on his own time. He's going to do what he wanted to do whenever. And that day he wanted to help somebody, and it, ended up.
Right. And I find that interesting too, because, your car accident that you mentioned earlier, you were going out to help somebody, remember? So did you get that feeling? When you have like a traumatic experience, I don't know if it's the same for you, but it's kind of like time slows and then you get flashbacks, right? So,
I definitely didn't have that trigger in that moment. But now that you think about that, I consciously am aware that, like, similar. Yeah.
Do you remember last time you spoke to him?
Yeah. I was, like I said, I was in Charlotte, and he hit me up a few hours before. I was in a group message with him and Pac-Man because he said that he had a new single that was out, and he was putting me in a group message with Pac because he was like, "Hey, Vip, I need you to put together a DJ pack for this new record that Pac-Man has with OT." So that I'm like, say less. I'm gonna send him the file request, and I'm gonna get the files. And then he hit me with another, well-oiled machine. And then him and Pac-Man continued to talk about the record and the thread. And then, like I said, I was out of town at the time, and I was waiting for files. So I was pretty much just waiting for those files to come in. But the last convo I had with them was like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning before it happened. So it was like 12 hours before.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I remember having the feeling, right? And of course, when, you have artists that you love, they pass away, like you feel it. You know what I mean? I felt that with Biggie. I felt that with Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? I felt that with Nipsey and Aaliyah as well. Back in the day, I was a huge Aaliyah fan. You being so close to him, obviously grieving yourself. I mean, obviously the first thing you did was go to support his family. I had mentioned to you too that the funeral was playing in my office, and I remember when she was up there, Lauren London, when she was up there, it was like everyone had like tears in their eyes because, it was such an unfortunate situation, but like the poise and the grace, you know what I mean, just was immense. So how do you, support someone obviously who's hurting just the same, family, friends, and also keeping yourself together as well? Like, were there times where you needed your alone space? Did you try to keep yourself around family and friends?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any family remotely out here. Like, I got my sister, but she's doing her own thing, and we hadn't been that close up until a couple years ago. Really after Nip passed, that's when we got a little closer, but it wasn't like immediately after that. Like, I was just like resonating with family.
Right.
It was a lot of like close friends and stuff like that because, they're the ones who I spend the most time with, people in the team. I found a lot of my strength through Lauren and Sam and, you know, the rest of the family. Cause I'm like, you know, if they're able to be strong and push through and, you know, not let this obviously, you know, not ruin their life, but like really be a major speed bump. Like it's going to be, but the way they handled themselves was just like, they were just walking tall and they had faith and you know, they just accepted what it was and they're going to keep pushing forward in honor of him. That's what my motivation was. I was like, if they're moving with this type of energy, then I need to follow suit.
Right, right. And do you think that's something that Nipsey kind of, you know, brought to his family, just how to stand tall, how to just go through things? Do you feel like that's something that played a part in how they dealt with his death?
Yeah, 100%. You know, from how his granny raised them to the people that he put in his life, I think it's just kind of like I said, like, you know, what he expected and kind of like what he expected and what just the way we are in our natural state. Like, I just think that it kind of went hand in hand.
Right, right. And as far as the day of the funeral, tell us a little bit about that. Obviously, it was televised. It was huge. What were your thoughts at the time? You know, I feel like anything, you know, bad that happens, like there's a positive, right? And I think the positive that I saw was like, wow, so many people loved him. Like the streets are filled with people. Like it you know, from the TV, I felt the energy, right? How was it you actually being in that city, you know, not even maybe just specifically there, but in that city, and you see people who are, you know, maybe coming to you and, you know that you obviously have a friendship with him, you're his DJ, for God's sakes. Like, how was it receiving love from people that maybe you've never spoken to before, just fans, anything like that?
I mean, that was definitely uplifting, you know, for being just a really dark, you know, uncertain time. It felt good. You know, it was very, helped with the grieving process. And it was, like I said, the whole thing is just like surreal, just being there. And like, we had performed at Staples, you know, and to think that I'm going to his memorial at Staples, you know, and then to be walking and be literally like across the street from where he used to live, right off of Fig, and meeting up there to go out on tours and sleeping at his place because we came in late one day and had like half a down day or something and then had to kick off again or something, you know, like, or had something in LA and we're leaving out of town in a day. So it was crazy just to see all these people that were there, you know. I expected it. I knew it was going to be insane.
Right.
I already seen because there had been like a week or two since, you know, it had actually happened. I seen how the city responded.
Right.
So I wasn't surprised, but like, it was just like, it was almost like, just like I said, I was like surreal. I was almost out of body experience. Like, damn, I can't believe I'm here for this right now. Like, why is this happening?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand. I totally understand. You know, they say that people come into your life for a reason, right? Now that, you know, this has happened, like looking back and trying to like imagine your life without meeting Nipsey, right? Like, what do you think he brought to your life? Like, what was his purpose? What did you learn from him that you feel like is a staple to who you are, you know, as a man, as a DJ, as an entrepreneur? Like, what was his purpose to you?
I think it was really for me to see how much I was capable of, you know?
Yeah.
I think I didn't truly, like, even after he passed, like, I feel like I kind of like became into myself. I think he seen me before I seen myself almost.
Nice. Okay.
I felt like in some way, it's like, I appreciate it, but I wish I could have given him that while he was around, because I feel like I'm like, you know, not as, I'm as better than I've been before. So I just feel like, you know, that was a lot to do with the opportunities he gave me and words he's given me.
Right.
So I think that, like, I just wish that I could have applied that for him, or like the timing would have been different so that I could have helped him more because of him inevitably helping me.
Right, right. Well, how do you feel like you honor him today?
You know, whenever I can, I'm trying to make sure that that everything is true to his mission, his legacy. You know, that there's whenever just little things, people trying to knock off stuff, or, people recently, someone was selling a supposed verse for him, and, just anything that's not legit regarding him, his legacy, and it's not kicking back and benefiting the family. Like, I'm doing what I can to stop it.
That's important, man. And because, in situations like this, you have those people, you know what I mean? And it's the job of the friends and family, like, stop all that funny shit, right? And I'm happy that, that is something you learned, because unfortunately, we have other artists, who may not have that backing. It's like, once they're gone, it's like, that's it. You don't hear about them anymore. And it's like, still to this day, we still hear Nip. We still see the Marathon clothing, right? And we actually wanted to talk about that too. The dispensary. I was actually shocked. I didn't know about this. The Marathon cultivation and the Marathon clothing store. You guys are doing a grand opening soon for that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the Marathon grand opening, the cannabis or the clothing, sorry.
Yeah, let's talk about the dispensary first.
Okay, so the Marathon cultivation grand opening was maybe like 2 months ago in Canoga Park. Shut down the whole street, had celebrities, tons of food, all the different flavors, it was like a street carnival. And what was really epic is the billboard right next to it was, had their advertising right there. So it was just a good little reminder that the Marathon still stands tall. The flagship store was a big thing. That was definitely the mecca of where his music career started. So for that not to be there, it's dope to have another home base. And follow up with what I said regarding the clothing store. The Marathon clothing in the new store on Melrose should be opening by the end of this year. We've already done the screening for the Marathon cultivation documentary on the rooftop. So they have a rooftop area where they, host events, which also has a VIP shopping experience upstairs. And then from the street side, you can access the main retail experience. And that's going to be pretty big, have a lot of dope artwork and, artifacts in regards to the Marathon clothing. And, the other spot has his Grammy, has all the plaques.
Yeah.
You can really go get some hip hop history and go see literally the plaques that were for Nip.
Yeah.
Are there?
His plaques are at that spot. You could go be standing right in front of his plaques. Not duplicates. Those are the ones that were for him. Because he didn't get certified until after he passed away.
Yeah, posthumous.
Yeah. And he won that Grammy for Racks in the Middle, which is another one of my faves. That's in my favorites playlist. That's still slaps. So
you can go look at that Grammy. That Grammy's in a case right there.
I'm coming.
That's
VIP, when the grand opening happens, please text me. I want to come. I need to see it for myself. Because that sounds amazing.
You can go see the Grammy right now at Marathon Cultivation.
Really? Okay. I thought you meant it was at the clothing store. Okay, so it's at the cultivation. All right. Well, look, next stop, DJ. I'll see you. I'll be on the West soon.
Taking things out west.
Yeah. That's dope. What's your favorite strain?
They're all fire. I mean, you can never go wrong with the Marathon OG.
Yeah.
Just something that very nostalgic. It was, at the time, I believe it was the only strain that we had around when he was alive. That's the only strain that they have right now that I, smoked with them. So, I like just having some Marathon. It's nostalgic. It takes me back whenever I got it. It's just I like I got Nip with me.
And tell us the locations again, just if anybody didn't catch it. The dispensary where we can catch that at, and the Marathon clothing store, if you can, just so the listeners can jot it down.
Yeah, so the cultivation is in Canoga Park, and it's on Canoga Avenue, just north of Woodland Hills, maybe a mile or two, by the Warner Center. Used to live over there, so I'm kind of familiar with it.
Oh, okay.
And then over in LA, just right off, the main strip, Melrose right there, a little, maybe a half mile to maybe a mile tops away from Cool Kicks towards the 101, you'll find the Marathon clothing. I don't think the signage is exposed yet.
Okay.
But definitely once it is available for patronizing, then people they'll know once we announce it.
Yeah, once you announce it. I love the fact that, everything is in the family. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that everyone's still a part of all of these, new things coming about. And you have a new thing coming about, right? Speaking of family, congratulations. You're about to have a baby.
Man, I'm so juiced.
Yes,
Congrats,
Papa Vip.
Papa Vip. I'm over here. I'm literally over here, just putting some diapers and loading up her little changing station in the bedroom. I'm OD with it. We got a little rolling changing station, so we could change her in the bedroom. We got the changing station in her actual nursery.
Yeah.
That's attached to her crib. So yeah, we're ready, man. We got 53 days. Nobody's counting.
Yeah. How many minutes?
Man, I don't know. If it's up, if it's up to me, man, hopefully she'll come right at midnight. I don't gotta wait any longer.
That's right. So aside from the diapers, how else are you preparing? Are you reading books? Are you guys taking classes? I know your wife, you guys both obviously are ready for the baby girl to come. So what have you guys been doing for the whole pregnancy? There's a million things to do out there for pregnant couples. Did you guys latch on to anything?
Yeah, I mean, we have some classes that we're supposed to go to, like when she gets a little bit closer.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a ton of reading. I don't know if anybody buys books anymore, but
mm-hmm.
we've been rocking with the internet.
Audible,
rocking with the internet,
like that. Yeah.
Right.
That's pretty much been it. We've been doing. She's very, very. DJ can tell you. She's very concerned about her health. She's a personal trainer. She's always, she has fun. She eats a little bit of junk food here and there, but she makes sure she's getting her vitamins in, hitting all of her nutrients. I think the whole pregnancy, she only missed one day on her prenatals.
Wow.
And, and she was like hard on herself because of that. She was like really, really hard on herself. I'm like, it's okay. Girls probably miss this shit half a pregnancy or something, like don't even trip, because she's just on top of it. She just, all these little things that I guess a lot of people have issues with, from like becoming pre-diabetic and she came back on her glucose test and everything was great. So I'm like, you're fine. Like, don't worry about it. The homies and myself say that the baby's gonna, before we knew it was a baby girl, we were saying the baby was gonna be hopping out like, doing some push-ups or bench pressing, just because how athletic we are and how healthy she is. So we've been doing our due diligence, making sure my secret to anybody who, either has a pregnant significant other or otherwise that they're dealing with, keep them fed and put them to bed. So I've never had a bad day with her when not like she has a lot of bad days. She's been amazing this pregnancy, and she's not standing here next to me. She's at the gym right now.
I'm not just saying this. Oh, wow. She's at the gym right now.
She's going to be training until she's 38 weeks.
She's the bomb. Stop.
Yeah, she's not playing.
Nah, she's not fucking around with the fucking around. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, she was telling me that apparently the activity actually increases, her physical activity increases the baby's brain health and development.
She's right.
I believe that.
She's right. She's
blood
right.
circulating, right?
No, she's right. She's right. What are some of her cravings? I'll tell you my pregnancy craving. It's kind of gross, but I ate bananas and fluff. You know that marshmallow that comes in a jar?
Kind of.
Oh yeah.
So fucking disgusting.
All you was missing was ice cream. That kind of.
Yeah, but
hey, you know what? Some fluff. I haven't tried that, but that would probably be crazy. Like on some banana pudding or something.
Listen, trust me. If you ever want to just get nasty, right? Get some bananas, get a bottle of fluff, and literally, I would just take a knife and I'll take like a little scoop. I'll put it on the banana, bite, and it's the most delicious thing in the world. I kid you not. That, and I ate Chinese food. Like, I love chicken and broccoli with garlic sauce when I was pregnant. So does she have any cravings? How many times did you have to leave at 3 a.m. for ice cream or something?
I can't even lie. She hasn't sent me on one run. And it's not to say that like we stay stocked up, because we're bad with like, we usually buy groceries like we've been doing it every week, but we used to do it like every other day. So it was like, if you want something, then it's probably not here unless we planned on getting it.
Right.
But she hasn't sent me on any crazy runs. Not like there's been one time where she like wanted me to get something. I was just hella tired. And I for sure complained about it, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm tripping. Let me just get this over with."
Right.
For the most part, no major cravings. I mean, she definitely had a fresh fruit kick during the second trimester, but other than that, like she hasn't ate anything like outside of her diet. She's been dealing with we caught COVID last September.
Okay.
So she never regained her like of chocolate. Like she used to love chocolate.
Oh, so she lost it.
Love chocolate. She doesn't like chocolate anymore. Like the taste of chocolate is like disgusting to her. Like whether it be a chocolate bar or a chocolate milkshake or like anything chocolate. Even like I got something from Starbucks. I think it was like a mocha.
Oh yeah,
but she wasn't rocking with that either.
Wow. Oh, she don't even like the drizzle.
she ain't doing
with the
none
drizzle.
of it.
Yo, I'm really excited for you. I love new parents, man. Like I said, my daughter's 20, so she's older now, and it's like when I see my friends and my family having new babies, biggest advice I'll give you: when they sleep, you sleep. That's it. That is how you do it.
100%.
When they
and
sleep, you sleep.
I got the moving bassinets, and like I heard a big thing that helps is they make these like they're basically mini sleeping bags for babies, but they're like weighted blankets. And I guess one of my neighbors, they just had their baby who turned a year old, and she said that ever since she put her baby in the weighted blanket, he was sleeping 30 to 45 minutes longer every time he was going to sleep.
Whoa, that is the cheat code.
Yeah.
We might have to drop the Amazon link for my new parents, because that's definitely the cheat code.
They got statistics with that one.
Bags. No, but that's the other thing too. Like you get the baby, it's like everything looks so cute. You know what I mean? It's like next thing you know,
I can't go into Target without buying something.
Target's the
like,
shit. Yeah.
They have so much. I'm not even gonna lie. When we were out in Tahoe, we had to make a run for some supplies. So we went down to Carson City. We went out to Tahoe for our baby moon, our last little vacation before.
Yeah, that was recently.
And yeah, exactly. We got some, content shots with, baby bags and our stroller and just all kinds of stuff. And just, we're having fun with it,
Yeah.
Doing our thing. Went down to Walmart, and I don't go to Walmart often. I don't live like super close to a huge Walmart supercenter, like a legit supercenter. The ones that are like retardedly big and they're the only store in like 50 miles.
Right.
Like I went to one of those, and bro, why were we finding Carter's? And Carter's is a good brand of like kids clothing.
Yeah,
they had Carter's at Walmart, and they had like shorts and pants and t-shirts for like $2 or $3. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna start busting Walmart for baby clothes now.
Yeah, you're gonna go crazy. Everything is so cute, but it's so much fun. I always tell people, I'm like, having a baby is the biggest job, but it's the biggest reward. And even I was telling you, I was like, man, minute she's here, it's like this instant love, like you've never felt it before. You know what I mean? So congratulations again. I think that's beautiful, and I'm really excited for you. When is she due?
October 29th, but I feel like she's going to come early because ever since, I guess, kick counting starts at like 30 weeks. And when we had gone in for one of her appointments around like 21, 22, we were already getting 10 kicks in a minute.
Oh, she ready
And they
to go.
usually say the kick count is, 10 kicks in an hour at 30 weeks.
Wow.
I think they kind of like estimated her due date because they were going off the last time, like when she missed it. And that was like, I just think their timing's way off. I think they're having it be a little long. I think she's going to come like probably, or I don't know, I'm thinking a week before, like anywhere between like 3 or 4 days before up until a week before.
Yeah. Listen, like you said, you got to stay close. You know what I mean? Because it's go time. So whenever it is, man, I'm so excited for you. Don't pass out, VIP. You gotta
I was just talking to my sister earlier, and she was saying how she was "Are you gonna watch the baby come out?" I was like, "No, I'm a saint." I was like, "I'm gonna have to like watch a webcam that's got a view from the back from another room." If I'm hearing her sounds as well, like I might pass out.
You're gonna lose it. You're gonna lose it. We'll try. Look, Amazon. You got to buy the joint that them weird ass niggas be having, where it has like the two fans that goes around your neck. You know what I'm saying? And it blows air in your face so you don't pass out when you're at baseball games and shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know you talking
about.
Yeah,
exactly.
Those things. Yeah, you need air circulation, water, and somebody to catch you. God forbid.
Sheesh.
Yeah, man. Listen, I don't want to keep you too long. I so appreciate this. I know you got to get back to your girl and your baby girl. So I just want to say thank you so much for tapping in. Obviously, if you want to drop your IG, just let us know where we can find you.
My IG, all my socials, everything is at DJVIP510. And just so y'all know, we try to put this together. We really did. So apparently we ain't fucking with JetBlue no more. JetBlue,
right? Fucking
JetBlue. But you know what? I can't even feel bad. I mean, I'm glad we got this off. But like, to not be selfish, there was a lady at the gate who was talking about she needed to get to New York in the morning for a layover to get to an early morning type, early afternoon wedding for her best friend that she was going to miss.
Oh,
and they were like, "Oh, we're going to give you $2,000." And she's like, $2,000? You could give me $10,000. I don't care. I need to get to where I'm going.
Right.
So, you know, like when we were talking, you know, you said it was just a road bump. I said it ain't a road bump. We just pivoting, you know, like it ain't even going to slow down. We just going to do it a different way. So
that's a fact.
I'm glad we got to do this. The next one will definitely be in person, whether it's in New York or you happen to come out to LA, you know, we'll put it together.
Yeah, listen, I'm going to be in LA sooner than you know. And I'm coming with gifts. I'm going to bring your baby some fly shit from Target.
Oh, that's love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. VIP, thank you so much. I will see you soon.
You know what you could do? Find me some in some real New York style. Find me some New York Timbs.
Yo, listen, matter of fact, you want to know what's crazy? I go do that shit right now. Send that shit back with DJ. What we want? We want a 1T, a 2T? What we want?
Yeah, what age you want her to rock on?
But when do you want her to stomp with the big dogs? That's all I need to know.
She's stomping in the 1Ts. As soon as she could get in some hard bottoms, run it.
Yo, okay. Listen, I kid you not. I'm picking them shits up. They're going back with DJ. I kid you not.
All right, that's love.
Thank you.
That's
appreciate
a
it.
fact,
that's crazy.
man.
That's love.
Nah, 100%. And we're going to get her the cheddar deaders. You know what I'm saying? Butter yetters.
Okay, that's fire.
Yo, thank you so much, VIP. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank
Take
you.
care, bro.
Take care. Y'all
you.
be good.
Man, what a treat, man. What a treat.
That was good,
DJ
man.
VIP. You know what I'm saying? Yo, thank y'all for listening to this amazing convo. We'll be back soon. We got big guests. We got big energy. We got big Strife. We got big DJ. You know what I'm saying? Everything big over here. Ain't nothing little about the Chili Beat Show. You heard? Later.